Welcome back to the stream, guys. It's a Monday evening. If you weren't watching earlier, we implemented a options menu which we stole from a previous game of mine, and we're just going to tweak it now to make it part of this game. So let's have a look at it, shall we? And here it is in all of its glory. We have audio, master volumes, we have display with resolutions not working. We're going to get that working in a minute. We're going to get this working where we select the correct thing. We have key bindings, which doesn't work at the moment, but we'll fix that as well. And we have voice settings that we probably don't need in this particular game. So, first of all, we're going to solve this problem here. Okay, so the way we're going to solve that is we have previously turned all our buttons, the text in our buttons, into variables. Okay, and when we actually click on one of these buttons, everything in here is part of a widget switcher. So in actual fact, what it does is it switches between different views. Okay, so if we go back to our graph, what we need to do is when a button is clicked, it switches all the buttons off and then selects the one that should be on. Okay. Hey Pusha, I really don't know how to pronounce your name, but welcome anyway. So we have created two variables, the text color enabled and the text color disabled. Okay, so we're going to set all the buttons, we're going to delete that, we're going to set all our buttons to a particular style. So we have text audio get, text bindings get, text visuals, we'll get that, text display, we shall get that, and finally text voice, which we probably aren't going to use, but we'll get it anyway, and we shall get that. And then we're going to set style, and it's not a set style, it is a button style. That's not a button style, that is a text text block style. Now, is this a style? Apparently it's not a style, so it's going to be a brush, and it's not a brush either. Okay, okie dokie. So you're going to be difficult, are you? So if we look at the text, color and opacity, whichever way you want to do it. So if we get the text, we should, if that's the case, yeah, we can get color and opacity, right? And we can basically duplicate that. Then we can get them here, duplicate that, and then we can duplicate that. Then I'm pretty sure if you go in here, this basically becomes well, I don't know about awesome. It's a slate color. Okay, so basically what we do is we can make this a slate color. Slate color, and this becomes a slate color. Got to type it in again. So we do that, and for enabled, the slate color, if we compile it, the slate color for enabled is basically going to be 0, 0, 0. White. Actually, that's black. So we don't want that. We actually want 1, 1, 1. I can never remember which is black and which is white, but there you go. So disabled, it's going to be black. Okay, so we can just basically hit down there and basically drag it down to 0, and that gives us our color, our colors. Okay, so we shall basically tidy all these up first. To be quite honest, I don't really worry too much about efficiency and when I'm doing menus, unless the menu is in the game, because you're not really worried too much about performance. Plus the fact that this isn't going to hit performance anyway, to be honest. Because it's event driven, it's not going to make too much of a difference. What kind of game do I want to make? It is a mixture between Factorio, Satisfactory and Surviving Mars. That's what we're making. Hi, Kofi. I'll give you an overview in a minute of the game, okay? Once I've kind of done some stuff here. Right. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take the crap alternative and do this. Right, just because we can. As I said, just give me another 5 minutes to sort of round this off and check it, and then I shall show you exactly what we're making here. Okay, what we'll do is we'll drag that in there, we'll drag that along to there. Then we're going to put in our little connectors, our reroute nodes, and basically then plug them in. And then we're going to get text audio, we're going to get that. Then we're going to get the next one, which is display. We're going to get that. Then we're going to get visuals. As I said, there's more efficient ways of doing this, but basically because it's the main menu, I'm not really bothered about making it super efficient or anything. It just needs to be functional for this particular main menu. None of the stuff in this is going to affect performance in the game, so hey ho. I will. Cactus. I'll show you in a minute. Once I've finished this little part off, I want to finish this part off because it's kind of the most crappy bit. So basically we're gonna, well, let's just do it the cheap and cheerful way, shall we? We'll duplicate that. Okay. We shall break these. As I said, I could make this in a function and then pass in the button and do it all in one line, but it works, it works. Hopefully at least you'll get the idea of how to do this type of thing, even if it's not the most efficient way at this point. As I said, it'll still work and get you going. As I said, you guys, if you learn some programming, you can make it as efficient as you want, but I'm just trying to get this to work for the moment, and this will work, so that's what we're doing. Okay, it didn't like me clicking on that a lot of times. So we're just going to connect these up, and then we've got one more little thing to do, and then I'll give you an overview of the game. Plug that in there, plug that in there, plug that in there, plug that in there. There we go. Right, and now we need color enabled, and we could, in theory, just go like this. No reason why not to. Whichever one it is, it's going to get set to the right color, hopefully. Okay, so we save that. We can press play and go to options, and now well, that did absolutely nothing. That's kind of awesome. It's kind of awesome when things do absolutely nothing. Well, they are going to do nothing if I don't do that. Let's try that again. Okay, so that works, as you can see. This now comes up in white, so that we can see which one we have selected. Okay, so that works. And now for Cactus, here we go. This is what we've made so far. Once it loads up, I must have closed this down because normally it's pretty much instant load. Oh, well, there you go. It crashed for the first time in a long, long time. Well, that's all very interesting. I'm guessing I just lost all that code, by the way. Which is always happy days. I'm going to be gutted. I'm going to have to go through that whole process again. Right, once this loads up, I'm not going to check the code, I'll just show you what I've got so far. Thanks Pusher for popping by. If you're feeling like it, hit that subscribe button. If you don't. Yeah, because it crashed, it's going to take a couple of seconds to actually do anything. Unfortunate. Sorry for the delay, but them's the breaks. I don't know why that crashed, wasn't doing anything particularly exciting. Just Unreal Engine having a moment, I suppose. Don't worry guys, it'll come back in a second. It'll come back. Come on. Come on, we've got Cactus waiting. Yeah, so have I. I've got 5.3 as well, but not stable enough as far as I'm concerned yet. But up to you to decide for yourself what you do. Come on. Come on, it wasn't that bad a crash. I'm guessing that if depending on a certain crash, Unreal Engine does like a disk scan or a project scan or something, because this actually happens quite a lot. If you crash, it takes a while to actually load back up again, especially if you're doing anything in C++. But the strange thing was, I wasn't doing anything in C++. But it's still taking a while to get back on its feet. Right, I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll show you the options menu that I had it based on. So this is from another project. So basically what I did was I just copied this widget and pasted it in, and then used the layout here, and then I copied some of the code to do the buttons. This is actually for the keybinds. This will be slightly different for the single player game. This is because you've got a heck of a lot of axis buttons and action inputs. So there was a lot of actions in that particular game, right? So you can see here that this was the initial event construct. but that's what we're basing our actual options screen off. As I was saying earlier when I first did this, it is a very good idea if you're a beginner to do a menu, because you really only need to do it once. And then once you've done it once, it's pretty much going to work if you migrate it, or it's going to take you a heck of a lot less time to do it if you've already done it. Okay, so for the benefit of Cactus, we're going to run this. Of course, first time loading, because we crashed, it'll take a bit longer, but shouldn't be too long. Right, here we go. So here's how it works at the moment. We have a resupply rocket which will fly up and down into the atmosphere. We shall get a notification when it's coming into launch. It's going to take off, so we get a little television feed so that we know that it's launching, right? And we're no longer going to be able to trade, and we'll similarly we lose track of it as it launches. So that's basically, so if you're further away from the rocket, obviously you won't be able to see it, but you need a visual indication that the rocket is coming into land and you can trade with it. Okay, so here it comes back down to land, right? And now you can trade with it. Okay, now the next point is to find particular commodities, and how you do that is you fire probes at the ground. Okay, then once you fire probes, they go off and try and find something, and then once they find something, they'll plant a flag. Then a rover will come out of the base and it will basically construct a mine, and then we can actually start doing stuff. And we need to find out what this mine is first before we do anything. So there you see it's been turned into a mine. Now this is a warehouse, so we can store things in here, but we don't need to if we don't want to. We can click on that, so that's given us bauxite. Okay, we have limited workers, so it's going to go slower, but what we can do is we can now build, except we can't because I'm an idiot. Right? Okay, we need to do something slightly different. We need to give ourselves enough materials to build something, okay? Which I was mucking around with, and I kind of deleted the stuff we had in testing. But it's okay, because we can add it in pretty quick. Right, so all we basically do is go down to our starting materials and add some. Okay, so we've got bauxite, which is fine. We've got copper sheet, which is fine. We've got a widget, which is fine. We've got a new thing, which is fine, but we need something else. And I believe we need copper. I think we need iron ore. So let's give ourselves some of that. we can do that, and we'll add something else. Now I'm being incredibly stupid because the game actually tells us what we need. We'll go for iron sheet. Did we have iron sheet? Okay, what we can do is we can check our data tables, right? Let's have a look at our recipes, right? And it's not the recipes, it's the buildings, and what the buildings need. Right, so I'm making a complete ass of this. We'll just do it in the game, sod it. I did Unity development about 5 years ago. I've completely forgotten everything. Cactus. So, yeah, there's that. Right. So, we're going to do our probes here. And apparently we still can't build anything. Have I done something last night that screwed this up? I'll show you something anyway, right? We're not at a loss yet. I think we can actually unlock this. Maybe. Right, we'll need to wait until it finishes its initialization. And then we should be able to link it to the warehouse. Okay, so right, I've done goof there. So we're basically going to do a connection, and we can build oh, that suddenly got awfully slow. Now I know I changed something to this. We can right now, so we've connected these, okay, and now you can see our little barrels going along and going into our warehouse. Okay. And I was hoping, I think we need copper ore as well. Right, what I'll do is we shall attempt to get a copper. I can't remember what I set this to be. The buildings, I can't remember if I set them to be copper ore and bauxite, or bauxite and copper ore, or iron ore and copper ore, or iron sheet and copper sheet. I can't remember. I'll need to check the data tables to find out which one I did. Let's have a look down here. If we look at the UI and we look at struct and data, menu buildings, right, that's the struct we're looking for. So the refiner costs copper ore and bauxite copper ore and bauxite, 20 each, right? So basically this if now I don't know why that's got so slow. It's something to do with the splines. I did make a change the other night to the splines and it seems to have basically murdered the frame rate. But we can change it back. It's definitely due with the splines, because as soon as I put the spline down and connected it to the warehouse, you'll notice that the frame rate went straight back up again. So we've now got, I didn't check. And that's bauxite as well, damn. Damn. Right, so we need to do the probes again. We need some copper basically. And once we get some copper, hopefully this will open up and we can actually make them. Now, I did test this the other day and it was working fine, so I don't know why it's not working now. And now our thing is trapped. Well, this is a complete disaster. But there you go, that's what you get when you're just developing. And our mining AI isn't awfully clever. What we could do is we could hit the probe button and do another one here. I bet this one gets stuck as well or something. We still need to check it anyway to make sure it's copper, right? If it ain't copper, then we're kind of screwed. What we'll do is we'll spin round. Be copper. It's copper. Okay. We're in business. So we click on the conveyors, we build a conveyor, we wait for it to lag. See, it only lags when you move, right? Which is kind of weird. Doesn't want to work. There we go. You can see now that all our barrels are moving along. Now, these are only barrels because I don't have a model for either the bauxite or the ore. When you start making sheets, it actually outputs sheets of copper and sheets of iron and widgets and other things. Now, this should open up when we hit 20. There we go. Thank God for that. Right, now we've got this open. So as you can see, the buttons start opening once we actually start making the right things. Okay, now I don't know why that didn't do anything. We'll fire off more probes. Right, we'll spin around to the right direction. Okay. And I have made the spliner to be blocking but not a nav mesh component, which means that it's going to screw up. So what I need to actually do here is make this actually up here somewhere so that they can get to it. But what we're going to see here is I'm going to make well, we're going to make something, right? So rather than all the stuff just going into the warehouse, we're actually going to make something. Now, what you'll see from also, right, what you can do is when the rocket comes in, you can trade with the rocket. So you can buy stuff and sell stuff. Whatever the rocket has, whatever you have. And you can basically, you know, do your thing, click on this, add this, blah, blah, blah. You can cancel that. What you can also do is you can go into your inventory and you can craft stuff by hand. So you can set up like crafting and it'll basically go into a crafting queue and you'll see that it's actually doing your crafting. I've not done any graphical effects on this yet, but you can see that it's all working. You can also right click and remove them and it all works. This is annoying me, but never mind. Right, so whatever this is, we can make something here, right? So what we can do is, this is bauxite, which is cool. That's pretty much what we wanted, right? And then what we can do is not do that anymore. Yeah, we can, right? So we can build that. And then once it's finished its setup, what we can do is we can rotate it, right? And then what we can do is we can build and join up. Okay. And that should have joined up, except it didn't. This conveyor belt thing is giving me problems. Whatever the thing I did earlier has really screwed the performance here. Right, so that's sorted it. So now we have this going in here. And then what you can do is you can click on here and select a recipe. So we're making iron ore, right? And then what we can do is we can go back in here and now we can refine the iron ore, or sorry, we can smelt the iron ore and turn it into iron sheets. Okay, once that's done, we shall rotate this. And then what we can do is we can go to our conveyor belts again. And as long as I don't actually try and move the map, we should be fine. As I said, I need to sort this out, but... And there we go. And then in here, we can select either iron sheets or copper sheets. So we're going to make iron sheets. So it takes one ore to make copper sheet. And then what we can do is we can turn the copper sheets into something else. So we can build a fabricator. Okay. And once it becomes available, we shall rotate it. And we can make copper wire widgets or a new thing. Now we're going to make widgets because it takes 2 iron sheets, right? So then we can go back to our conveyors, we can join this up, put this here, join it to there, and then that didn't quite connect. It has now. And you'll see what looks like copper sheets, right? But those are actually iron sheets, and it's because of the lighting that they look like copper sheets, right? Because I thought it was the wrong model that it was actually generating, but it's not. And then, after all of that, I don't even want to try this because we're too far away. Right, what I could actually do is get the widgets and plug them into the warehouse, right? And that's, the warehouse is something I've got to add to the building list, right? But the other thing that I haven't showed you yet is we have a research tree, which you can scroll about, and you can basically research things to make things faster. You're mining faster, refining, smelting, fabricating. You can make your probes better. You can make your research faster. This is going to get extended. This is just the start of the research tree. But you can see from what I have so far, everything fundamentally works. Right? We have lots of stuff going on here. We have all these beautiful conveyor belts passing products around. We're making new products. The miners will run out of stuff at some point and they will close down. So they started with 4146, okay, but probably they've not got 4146 anymore, I wouldn't imagine. So there you go, cactus. That's what we've got. Oh yeah, you can switch on your grid to give you an idea of basically where you are and stuff. Switch it off. We're actually facing the wrong way. So this gives you an idea of where you are, etc., etc. Okay. You can build splitters. So there's splitters and there's combiners, which need a little bit of work. The combiner works fine, but the splitter, there's a bug in it somewhere that I need to actually fix, but it does work to a degree. And there you go. So basically we need to extend all of our products, our recipes. We need to implement some research. I don't know if I'm going to do it the same way as Factorio does it, where you basically make research things and then pass them to the research lab to process, or if it's going to have to be done in a different way. I'm going to have to add stuff to the rocket, like workers, but the workers is going to be really, really expensive. If you see here, I'll show you, right, that you're going to have space credits, right? So if you buy and sell stuff, you buy and sell and trade in space credits, and then it's going to be like space credits that buy you special things, like for example workers, right? And then the workers are going to make all your things go faster. Okay, that at least is the plan. Now whether that comes to fruition or not, I don't know. But what we're going to have to do in the meantime, is yep. I'm guessing that's when the spliner wasn't quite attaching properly. Now, as I said, that's a known issue. I'm going to fix that. There is a way I'm going to fix it. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the last X or Y position in line with what it's connecting to, and then it's going to adjust its position. Left X or Y, and then it's going to like plug straight in. But I can't remember exactly what I've done that has absolutely destroyed the frame rate when you're using the splines. That is, I know I did something, but I'll have to have a look at it to see actually what I've done. Okay, so let's carry on with our menu. Which is going to be down here. Under main menu and options. Okay, so the easiest thing in the world is going to be this thing here. So what we'll do is on clicked, I'm tempted to say, to add the confirm on this one. Yeah, that would probably be a good idea. Tell you what, we'll just close for now. In fact, I'm going to leave it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a break. I'm going to have a quick cigarette. Okay. And I shall be back and we shall implement our confirm and interface. We're going to add an interface to our widget so it can confirm and pass the values back and basically react to them. Okay, so I shall see you guys in about 3 minutes. I'll see you then. Okay folks, we're back. It's a long time since I did an overview of the game. So if you missed that, go back and watch it. I think it happens around the 20-minute mark or something like that. I basically go over the game. So, but what we're going to continue with here is we have a confirm button or a confirm widget, right? So if we create widget, we have a special button that basically is if you're going to confirm something or not. Okay. And we're going to use it. So it is W confirm. We pass in the parent, so that's going to be self. Get a reference to self. And then the message is going to be, do you want to exit options? These will probably go into a data table later, but for the moment we'll leave that as it is. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to compile that, then we want to go to class settings and then add BPI confirm, save that, and then what we want to do is, I think, is it confirm? Confirm, it's not that one, but it is this confirm action, and it's add event. Okay, and what we can do here is if they click, we can set up a variable that basically tells us what to do here. So we can say close, save. No, we'll just say is save, and it'll be set to false to begin with. So what we'll do is when they actually click on this, well, basically this is commanding the mode, so we can set that, and I'll show you how that's going to work. Right, so we'll set our variable, we're clicking the close, this isn't the save button. Okay, so we set that to false, and then what we'll do is we shall go back to our designer, we shall click on the save button, then on clicked, right, this is going to do the same thing, except the save is going to do something different. It's going to be set to is save as true. Then we're going to come back to here, we're going to create our widget again. As I said, this is just an intermediate widget, so we can basically plug this in here. Okay, and then our message isn't going to be do you want to exit, it's going to be do you want to save the settings. We'll stick a question mark on that, and we shall stick a question mark on that. Okay, So it isn't going to do anything, but what it's going to do is going to fire off another widget. That widget has got an interface to the parent, right? Because the widget basically sets it up that way, and then it'll pass it back and fire this event. Okay, so we can add a breakpoint there to see it actually happening. So if we press options and click back, okay, I think it's in the background, so we need to fix that. Right, so if we go to this widget, I'm an idiot. Right. Right, idiots are us, okay? We forgot the most bleeding obvious thing. That we added it to the viewport. Duh. Right, so we save that, and we go to options and back, right? Now, do we want to exit options? If we cancel that, obviously goes back, right? Do that again. Okay, fires our event dispatcher, or sorry, our interface, and we get the event. Okay, so now what we can do is we can check this variable to know what mode we're in, if we're in save mode or we're in just exit mode. Okay, so what we can do is we can branch from this right, and if it's true, then we basically remove from parent and itself. Okay, so I don't like leaving that there hanging, so we'll just get a reference to self, right? So we'll just plug that in there, and basically that should now take us out of the options. If we say, do you want to exit options? Okay, runs that and resume, and there we go. If we do that again and we say that and cancel, does nothing. But back, okay, resume, and there we go. Okay, if anybody in the chat wants an explanation of what's going on there, then let me know and I'll try and explain it to you. But now what we've got is, it'll ask us, go to here, and if we click save, it says, do you want to save the settings? Okay, now this isn't going to do anything, but it is going to fire this event dispatcher, not if we press cancel, but if we fire it and say okay, it's going to fire this interface. Okay, and there you have it. So once we've got all our saving routines sorted out for our save game, or sorry, our settings, then we shall implement this here. And that's going to be basically all we need to do. Right, but at the moment our back button's working, our widget switcher is working, and all we actually need to do now is kind of get it to change the settings on things when we actually do it. And that'll be us. Right, now we noticed earlier we have a huge issue with our spliner, and I want to know what it is. I want to remember what it is that I've changed that has really screwed this up. And I was playing with this, but I don't see. Wait a minute. Right, hang on a second. What I'm going to do is set this to 0 collisions. For the moment, okay? And I'm going to see if that is the issue here. I might have, maybe the problem is that we want the collisions off when we're building the spline, and then when we actually place the spline we can switch them back on again, right? Because I think it's recalculating collisions all the time while it's actually trying to build and recalculate the spline all the time. So let's try that and see if that actually solves our issue. So first thing we're going to do is fire some probes. And obviously the other advantage of doing this is the fact that our mining constructors are not going to get stuck in the splines. I'm pretty sure that that's the change I made the other night. Right, so once this becomes active, right, which it is now, we can build this. And you'll notice, yeah, there we go, straight away. So earlier on that was basically dying a death when I tried to move stuff. When I tried to move the spline, it was basically killing the frame rate and stuff, but now you'll notice that it's working perfectly. So this is bauxite, and our slowdown has now been remedied to a degree. I'm not saying the spline's perfect yet. I know that it's needs a little bit of work, but it is actually working now without any issues. as you can see, our little barrels are flowing along our conveyor belt and into our warehouse. Cool. Right. Now, I think our next, I don't know what our next actual objective here actually is. Now that I've just sorted that spliner issue, we can cancel that. Right, I think what we actually need to start doing now is expanding on our recipes and what we can make. It's either that or work some more on the options, the code for the options. If anybody in the chat wants to see a particular thing get worked on, I've got absolutely no problem helping doing that and letting you see how I'm going about doing these types of things. In the meantime, yeah, we've lost a bit of code there. We have indeed lost code. We had a crash earlier on and we've lost it all. Darn it. Darn it, darn it, darn it. And we've even lost the variables in the designer. Well, that's not so good. So, yeah, these were all variables. Okay, well, we may as well go about doing this. This is basically so that when you click on one of these, then it is set up to the right color. So obviously a selected one is going to be a different color from the unselected one. Okay, so we're basically setting that up at this point. So that's going to be txt display, and that's going to be txt visuals, and we need to set these to variables. That's the most important part of the whole thing, which I completely forgot to do. And txt bindings, set to variable. And as I've said before, this voice is probably going to get changed or removed or something, but in the meantime we shall just keep it there just in case we need it. So we'll call that txt voice, so we can always change that later. That becomes a variable. Do that, save all that, go back to our graph, then we basically pull all of these in. Okay. Right, and the next thing we need to do is create two variables which are going to store the colors that we want for the buttons to be, or the text behind the button. Okay, so this is going to be color of text enabled, and this is going to be color. It's a slate color. And this is going to be duplicated, and this is going to be the disabled version. Okay, and then we save that, compile it, and then we can set these. So if it's enabled, the color is going to be black. Okay. If it's disabled, sorry, wrong way around. If it's enabled, the color is white. You'll see why in a minute. If the color is disabled, then the color is black. Okay, that. So then what we do is we disable all of these. So we get the color. Okay. And then we basically say color and opacity, or opacity, depending on how you pronounce it. And we don't want to get it. We want to set it. So it's color and opacity. I don't know. I normally call it opacity, but when I say it out loud, it sounds wrong for some reason. Don't know why. Bring these down into a line, a bit more even. Copy paste that. Drag that to there. Duplicate them. Drag them to there. Then we just need one more. Drag it to there. As I was saying, the first time I did this, I'm not going for super duper efficiency or number of instructions to do this. I know I can do it faster. I know there's ways to do it that would be maybe more efficient, but because it's a main menu, I'm not going to worry too much about it. As long as it works, I'm really not too much bothered. Plus the fact that it's on an event, so it's only going to happen when the player clicks a button. It isn't like it's on a timer or a tick. Well, that wasn't very good. We want to straighten this. Right, I was doing the blooming wrong one. Right, I'm losing it here. We'll drag these down to a degree. Don't select everything else, please. I'm gonna have to connect those up as well. I'm making a complete mess of this. Right. Straighten that for me, please. Straighten to the reroute node, please. Thank you. Straighten that to the reroute node, please. Right. Okay, so we can plug in our text boxes now that are going to get their text color changed. Move that, make it a bit straighter. Put that in there. That's already connected. So we just basically connect these up. Right, and I know guys, everybody that sees me doing what I'm about to do is going to hate me for it. But I just did it anyway. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get all of these we're going to duplicate them, right, and then we're going to drag them to the correct position. So when we change the audio button, we change the audio button. When we change the display, we want this one. When we want the visuals, we want this one. We'll drag this one down, bindings down. We'll go to here. And then we'll pop that in there. And then we're going to do that. And then we're going to paste that. Then we're going to grab them, paste them again. I know, guys, I know. I could do this with one function, but hey ho. Right, so we just drag that up to there. And my mouse is being very sticky tonight. Now we'll set these up first, right? And then we'll bring in our color. Okay. Join that up. Then we shall join this one up. And join that one up. And connect it there. And we have them all connected, and now what we do is we plug in this variable, so we get the enabled one, and the one that is enabled, it's going to go down and change the button colors, then change the text color where required. That is the whole point of this. So we shall do that. And there we go. We could drag them out again to make it look a bit nicer. Not that it really matters, but anyway. And then the last thing we need to do for this particular thing is we need to do an event construct, which we had, but it was unfortunately deleted when we had our crash. And all we need to do is basically copy that and paste it in. And save it. And we should be good to go. And you can see there that that is not working, which is obviously brilliant. I think our colors have been reset for some reason. We can check our button again. Zoom that, and we can exit. Right, so it looks like our button colors have been screwed up. Yeah. Our button colors have been screwed up. Now what I'm going to do is well, I probably don't have, oh, do I? Yeah, I should do. Well, it's not that spacer. But, right, hang on a second, guys. Right, why has this... I'm not particularly happy about that everything's went over to the left for some unknown reason. Sorry, the other left, which is basically the right. Why has it done that? Why have you done that? I'm guessing it's because right, here's our widget switcher, okay? But what we want is to click on that, and it's actually the button, and we copy the color. So we copy that, and then we go back to our graph, and our slate button enabled is going to be black, and this one is going to be the blue, right? So basically we paste that, then on hovered we paste that. This is our first pass, remember guys, so let's not get too hung up about not setting these buttons up like to change slight colors and stuff. I might do that later, but I might not. And basically this one is going to be black, right? You'll see what the effect is when I actually do it. Okay, that, and that one, that's not quite zeros. Okay, that, compile that, save all. Right, options. You can see now this is one selected. When we click on that, it changes it to selected. Working perfectly, and that's why we changed the text to white, okay, and the background to black a minute ago. And there we go. So the next thing we can do is to actually fill out our resolutions. Okay, now I can do a back on that, and we can remove this breakpoint from the interface call, resume that, then exit, and what we can do is I can look at the code for returning the resolutions. Okay. And basically I can put in a function now, add a function, fill resolution, combo box. Looks good to me. Then we can just go bang. And this is the benefit of having done a menu before, guys. There's the code. Save it, compiles no problem, run it. Options, display, resolution, Doesn't work. Of course, because I didn't call it, you idiot. Right, so we can exit the game. And on event begin play, after setting up our widgets, we can fill resolution combo box. And we're going to be doing this for a few of them. Well, a couple anyway. So we go to options, display, and there we go. Okay, now I can run through this code for you if you want and let you see what it actually does. Okay, so what it does is it goes to the game user settings, it gets the last good resolution that's saved from the config file, it sets that to the resolution in the user settings, then it sets the full screen mode, gets the supported full screen resolutions from the graphics card, then loops and puts them into that add option. Okay. Then it checks for which one is the last good one and sets that as the selected option. Okay, so that's basically how the combo box for resolution is filled in. So that's the first thing done. So let's check the other display. We've got full screen windowed, blah blah blah. We probably need to do some processing on this once they save it. We've got native maximized. You can click on that, click off it. So that's all fine. We need to move these up a bit, obviously. Visuals, again, these are all just standard Unreal Engine settings. Key bindings, we need to redo that, but it's not that difficult. Okay, these were specialized for the game that this menu was a part of, but it's not that difficult to do. They're kind of, shall we say, let's have a look at it actually. There's the thing. Let's have a look at it. Okay. So if we look at it, we can bring this in from, we want to do the key bindings, okay? Now this ain't going to compile, I don't think, and it's going to be completely wrong, but it's going to give us a starting point, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to add another function, and we're going to say fill key bindings, and then we're going to paste that in. Now, as I said, it's going to be totally horrific, and it's not going to work, but it's going to give us a starting point. So we can at least look at so fundamentally, right, these are the names used for the camera. And these are the buttons that you use to interact. And these are special buttons. So some of these will get used, some of them won't. We can check what this actually does. That's constructing something, which I'm going to have to check on the original blueprint to see what it is. We actually construct a key binding widget. Okay, so in here we're going to do exactly the same thing. We're going to create a widget, and it's going to be W underscore key binding let's have a look at this again. Let's check exactly what it's called. And it's called that. Right? And we can copy the code, right? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you me doing this, right? So we're going to copy a widget directly from another project. Now, I did try earlier to migrate it, but if you migrated it, it tried to basically, it tried to copy the whole project, right? So we're copying this widget, okay? And you'll see what it will do in a minute. So I'm going to copy this, right, from the horizontal box. So that's everything in our widget. And when we double click here, we can basically click on that and then paste. And there we have exactly the same thing, but we need to change colors and format it, obviously. But we have all the stuff that we need within our widget, okay? And that means that basically we can come in here and say, W key binding, there we go. And it has got an options menu reference on it. We shall check that on the original blueprint. And it has got a little bit of code in it as well. So I'll tell you what, guys, what I'm going to do in the meantime, you'll notice it's got quite a few variables here, so I'm going to have to copy them across, right? But what I'm going to do in the meantime is grab a quick cigarette. So I shall be back in 3 minutes, and we shall see how far we can get with this tonight, okay? Okay guys, we are back, so let's do some variables, shall we? That's actually parent widget. So in the key binding widget, we are going to have some variables here. And now, do we have that? Right, so we've got those three. So the next thing we need to do is basically copy these. So what we do is we have a variable and it's called that, and it's a name. Then we do our next one, copy that, and it is exactly the same. It is another name and it's the key. So we have the action name and the action key. Then we have a couple of input chords, so we can add that, and the first one is the last selected key, and this is an input chord, if I can spell right for a minute. So this is an input chord. Now this is going to automatically do all our keybinding stuff. So basically we will just type in the names of the keybinds, or the actions and the axis mappings within the project, and then this will automatically basically do the rest for us. Right, once we've got this all set up. So there's a little bit of code in this widget. Not too much. Now, I'm not 100% sure what this one is. It's going for options menu. So that's going to be W. I think it's options. Right? Then our next one is going to be a sub-index, and that is an integer. So we paste that in, we save that, and that is an integer. In fact, our next three are all going to be integers. We have the index and the sub-index. So we paste that in, and we have temp scale. Now I'm not sure if that's used or not. I don't actually remember what that's for, to be honest, but we'll put it in anyway, and that is all our variables added. And now what we can do is basically copy the event graph from, you can delete that, then paste in that, and because all of these should be the same names, it should compile without a problem. There you go. And we have one function, and it's basically called the key is in use. So this returns if the key is already being used. We've actually got that. Well, no we don't. I'm looking at the wrong project. I'm an idiot. Right, so we don't want to do that. Right, so we can delete that, and we can add this function called key in use, and then we can basically copy the code from our other menu straight in here. Okay, apparently it doesn't want to do that. We'll try that again. And there we go. Now it looks like this, we're not going to compile this because it looks like this has a local variable or two, maybe just the one, right? So we add a local variable and it's going to be Boolean, and I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll copy the exact name. So we shall copy that. And paste that there. And it's a Boolean. And then we can compile that. And then obviously that doesn't want to work. Right, but all we need to do is set that to nothing, plug it in there, delete this one, right, and these are basically the same thing. So we set that there, and we can do a get on that as well. So we'll get that, set that to true, that goes in here, that goes in there, we can delete that, we can delete that, put this back in, and this, my friends, is the bonus you get when you've already done a menu before. There you go. Okay, so now we can go back to our original menu, and if we actually compile it again, what we can probably do here is refresh that node, and I know what it is. This, our parent widget, should be exposed on spawn. Okay, so now if we go back to here and refresh the nodes, we can see that this goes directly into here, and I'm guessing that this goes into here. Apparently not. Is that the only thing that's failing there? Let's drag that off, right? And add a reroute node. I might need to do these references again because I hadn't done this. Okay, let me check on the other one here. Yeah. Right, it's fine. It's fine. We can do txt action and plug it in there. Then we can delete that. We can drag this along here and add a reroute node. And is that going to go in there? No. Okay. So we're going to set txt action name. Then we're going to plug that in there. We're going to plug that in there. Okay. And then we're going to move this from here to here. And then we can delete that and bring it down. And then the final one is going to be this one. txt key selector. So we're going to get that and we're going to plug it in there. And we're going to delete this one. And then finally, we can plug that in there. And now we can delete that and delete that. Okay. We can put this kind of back the way it was, which is about like that. We can save that. That's all working now. Everything is actually doing stuff. Now the interesting thing is I had to name these because I can't actually remember why. But fundamentally we had to rename them to get it to work properly. Because we're doing actions and action mappings and all sorts of stuff. So either way, we can actually do a save all, and we can go into our project settings. Then we can go on to input, and we can set one of these to be the right thing. Okay, so this is the action mapping. We want the axis mappings. So we've got like camera up, camera down, camera left, camera right, camera zoom. So if we actually copy that exactly, and we do that, now here's the thing, this doesn't actually make any sense anymore. So we'll undo that, and what we'll actually do is change our action mapping names to forward and backward and left and right. Okay, so that didn't kind of work, strangely enough, but we're getting there. So we can do camera left, it doesn't want to select that, camera right, and we can close that. We can save all, and now when we run this we should actually get the key bindings for okay, we're not getting the key bindings for that then, are we? getting actions by name. Now, is that the correct thing, is I'm wondering. Okay. Now, the question is, you've guessed it, guys, I didn't fill the key bindings and I didn't add this in. So we need this variable. So we can delete that. Now let me check if this is actually a local variable or not. It looks like I've got a million more variables to add, to be honest, for maybe not, but we certainly have one for this. And it is in the options menu, so I suppose we better fill it in. Temp, and it's camera direction, and we've got this int key counter as well, so we need to add that. So that's int key counter, and this is going to be, well, going by the fact that it's called int, I'm guessing it's going to be called int. It's going to be an integer. Okay, now this here is going to be key binding, and we are probably going to have to go through these and repeat the process from earlier, and I'm probably going to save you from that by doing it when I'm not streaming, because it's not going to be a very good stream if I'm just replacing the previous code with the same code, or the same blueprint basically. Right, so we still have a lot of errors here, but I just need to go through and fix them all, and then we can take it from there. What I'll do in the meantime is do that and do that, and then we should compile. And I'm going to guess now that in our event graph we've got to do fill key bindings. Okay, so now when we do this, hopefully we should actually see something, and there we go, there's all our key bindings. Okay, and on that, which is exactly 10 o'clock, and that's me being basically doing this for 2 hours, and it's time to take the dog a walk. If you watched tonight, thank you for joining. Hit the subscribe button. If you're more interested in my previous games and stuff, then check out the description for my previous game, Discord and Patreon. And I very much hope you come back, and I shall see you all tomorrow at 2 PM Central Time. Bye bye for now, guys.